What if I told you Scoot Scheffler, only the second time in his professional career that he played a round of golf and did not make a birdie? And that was today.
Holy shit, he did not make a single birdie today?
Nope. He made a double on 5, and he bogeyed 15 and 17. And
Wow, I
15
think
pars.
you might need to get that mic a little closer to your face. It's a hair quiet. Let's hear it now there, Big Shoots.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's
Am
a
I
little
loud?
bit better. The audio is not great, but we'll survive. Kind of like Scottie Scheffler, it looks like he's going to make the cut on the number. Listen to the show later tonight, boys. Out golfing with my Green Wolves on, thanks to the AC 35. You love to see that.
Let's go, Sergio.
Rays on right now. So where do we want to start? Do we want to start with Scottie Scheffler?
Yeah, let's just talk about him, get him out of the way, and we won't have to talk about him all weekend. So let's talk about him now.
Okay. Well, I mean, we may have to talk about him over the weekend. He could make the cut on the number and then just go fire 2 crazy rounds.
Nah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
It could, but whatever you say. So he has putted the ball like dog shit. I was looking into the stats the first 2 rounds, and his strokes gained approach, he's second in the field in like strokes gained approach this week, which is insane because it felt like every time we saw him hit a shot, it was bad. Like he seemed from the very jump today, he seemed off. Like he did not seem like he had it. But then strokes gained putting, 148th in the field. So Jesus. he had maybe a handful of dudes in the entire field that are putting it worse than him right now. So kind of, back to not the old Scottie Scheffler, but when Scottie doesn't win, it is his putting. Like he is a ball striking machine. You pretty much know what you're getting week in, week out with him, from tee to green. But then once he gets on the greens, it's kind of a crapshoot. So what did you think of Scottie showing? I assume you've been watching this coverage wall to wall.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, did you hear the hot mic of him? Somebody tweeted it and said that it was his caddy, so they look like a fucking idiot. But it was actually him.
That is, I was gonna say his caddy would not say that to him.
That person has no clue what they're talking about. But
if you want to get fired 101 or how to get fired 101, say that shit to your player when he's in the middle of the U.S. Open. Wouldn't happen.
But in third person, he said, that's the worst golf shot you've ever hit. And it was so good just to hear that from the mouth of the number 1 player in the world, worst haircut in the world. Not worst haircut, but man, that just goes to show you golf tan lines. We've talked about how bad they are in the past. That's a rough look. I saw a tweet that was, did you send me the tweet that was like, the cops stopped Scottie Scheffler from winning the PGA Championship. Now a barber's stopping Scottie Scheffler from winning the U.S. Open.
Yes, I definitely think that the haircut has something to do with it. And the clean-shaven face like somehow makes him look older. Like a lot of guys shave their face to look younger. He's just got like that old man, like the 65-year-old leather bag type of face. Like it's a little like podgy, and coming from me, I mean, I've got some fucking cheeks on me here too, but he's just got like, I don't even know how to explain it. He's got that kind of little like butt chin going, and he just does not look like he's going to win this week. If I had to, rate, we say look good, feel good, play good. He does not look good. So that is kind of the number 1 way to not play good, is to just look like shit.
Yeah, he doesn't have the first leg of the parlay down. You can't hit a 3-leg parlay if you don't have the first one. Everybody kept asking me. I got multiple texts of just because it's a major. I was like super giddy to watch this event, and I still am. Like it was exciting. I was thinking to myself today, I wish every PGA Tour event felt like this somehow, because then you would have something to watch every single weekend where it was like peak excitement. Like I woke up Thursday morning and couldn't wait to get to the TV and start watching. But
yeah, like watching like playoff basketball or hockey or, playoff football, shit like that, like must see television.
Right. And it starts at, 5, 6, 7 in the morning and goes till 5, 6, 7 at night. Greatest sport in the world that lasts all day. I'll tell you that for
I
first of
will I will say I've had a crazy fucking headache at the end of these last 2 days because I'm not proud of it, but I've watched probably 8 hours of golf. Now I know what it feels like. Like, I've never worked like a tech job behind a computer screen, but if you stare at a screen 8 hours a day, you're gonna have a headache. Like, and I'm flipping between that and my phone, switching back and forth the entire day. And I had to like go touch grass yesterday. I had to walk outside. And today I had to walk to Whole Foods for a few miscellaneous groceries, my favorite place in the world, just so I could get out of the fucking apartment for a couple minutes because I was like, I can't do this again.
I can't be staring. You need to get some blue light glasses. When we need to
Bro,
ask
that's the
Shady Rays if
biggest
they make blue light
crock of
glasses.
horseshit. Blue light glasses are 100% placebo effect. So,
Oh, do you have the research behind that?
yes, I do. Google it, dipshit. Let's get into a few. Oh,
It's not about saving your eyes now. It's about when you're 60 and blind. That's what you're looking for. You're investing in your future eyes with blue light glasses. That's what you're doing.
You act like you're an optometrist. How do you know exactly what the fuck's going on?
Well, all I'm saying is there's a chance it helps, and you're just fucking no, that's fucking bullshit. No, I can't believe.
Have you read the research on it?
No, I haven't, but it's something that is supposed to help you, and a bunch of people use it. So I would imagine that it's not necessarily just the worst thing in the world. Couldn't hurt.
Marissa, our producer, just said blue lights are so a thing. Please, will you guys do some research for me and get me back actual legitimate research that they help? Because guess how many other things there are in this world, Spencer, that a lot of people use and they say helps you, and they actually don't. Have you ever considered that?
What are those power bands that we used to have?
Yes.
Zen bands.
Yeah, you're basically they're selling you snake oil.
Okay, well,
her doctors lie to Marissa. Don't worry, they're the fucking best liars of them all.
Okay, let's not go down that road. But
Marissa's hopping in the stream all of a sudden.
Just like, where's my camera? 1 second. You're not a doctor either.
Yeah.
At all.
I've read things from doctors on the internet.
Site on?
We'll take this to the group chat afterwards.
Okay. Well, let's get back. Let's get back to golf and Scottie Scheffler, because I had something to say about that until we lost this whole scenario. But everybody was asking me all week, is it Scottie or the field? And I know that's an insane thing to ask in a golf tournament, but I honestly would have taken the field and told everybody to take the field in this event because of the way the course is playing. The talent level is a lot higher around Scottie Scheffler this week with Bryson's and all the live guys in this event. And just the difference of golf course that this is and the different fight they have to go through this week compared to even, this is making Memorial, which I thought looked tough, look easy. You're not able to land the ball in the spot like next to the hole. We saw it today. Mark Hubbard, our boy, friend of the program, Mark Hubbard, first hole hits it to a foot and it was about to stop. I thought when they tweeted the video out, I thought he jarred it because that's how they catch those type of videos and post those. And I was like, okay, he jarred it, or he hit it really close. He threw a dart, and then all of a sudden it starts rolling, and he's chipping 30 feet off the green. And I tried to screenshot his face was pretty funny watching it roll back off the green, but the last half second of that video, he was covering his mouth, and I tried to stop it, but I couldn't stop it quick enough on Twitter to screenshot it. But it was hilarious. There's nothing they can do about it when they're hitting these golf shots in generally the right areas.
That's a U.S. Open. That's what it's supposed to be. But I think that people are wondering, and I think we also have to wonder, are we Mark Hubbard's good luck charm? Because he's only played in one other U.S. Open before this, missed the cut. He comes on with us. He told us beforehand, full disclosure, he tells us, I'm going to have the week off. He did not think he was getting into the U.S. Open. So we plan our interview with him after his sectional qualifying. He gets through sectionals. We do the interview. He's now at Pinehurst, makes the cut this year. I mean, how is there not a correlation? There's got to be a correlation there.
He's getting the BD bump.
Yes, that he's got the BD bump going. Like
Just one bump.
just a fucking
Just one BDE bump. So if any other tour players want to come on, or before the Open Championship, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to figure that out. But I got to get a few other things off my chest. And I know you wanted to talk about pace of play and get that off your chest, but I'm going to go first. I know I usually let you go. I'm going to go. I'm a great talker. First of all, real quick, I had to switch nicotine pouches because my beloved nicotine supplier, if you know, you know. So I have a different pouch in my mouth right now, and I'm going crazy. Like I'm drinking a little bit, but I am buzzing hard. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. I don't feel like I'm in the correct place right now. But I want to talk about this golf course. I do not like this golf course for a U.S. Open. And I know we talked about it. We talked about it Wednesday. I am not a fan of this kind of setup for U.S. Open because let me tell you what. Obviously, so we discussed there's no rough. So fairways are at not near what a premium as they should be at the U.S. Open. That is my gripe number one. Number two, these wire grasses, like talk about the buzzwords this week: wiregrass, runoff, on the edge, borderline, whatever. What other buzzwords have we heard this week? But the fairways are hitting a fairway is not at a premium this week, and I feel like up until these last few shots I've seen, like in the last few hours, I feel like nobody has gotten fucked by one of these little wiregrass things. Like I feel like every single time they're like playing ping pong, bouncing off these little mounds of grass and ending up in a completely fine lie. So you're essentially not getting penalized for not hitting the fairway.
Yeah, I think it's the potential of what it could turn into. Now, we haven't seen a lot of people that have gotten screwed by it because those are probably the guys that are hitting bad golf shots out of the rough and are 12 over, 11 over, Victor Hovland, whatever you want to call it, in this event. So they're not showing a lot of those guys' shots. The guys that are playing well are, Ludwig back bunker. Doesn't seem to be a bad spot. The thing I like about this course, though, is, we talked about it. We had the pretty, not viral, but fairly viral clip on TikTok about talking about pros and PGA Tour players hitting out of bunkers. But I think the thing about this golf course that's intriguing is obviously we're not on the grounds, but a lot of the times you can tell from watching on TV, like that's a good spot to be, or this is a bad spot to be. Here, I feel like you can't tell. And I feel like that's what makes it tough is you can miss the fairway and possibly be in the middle of one of those wiregrass bushes where it disappears, or you could possibly have a fine shot out of there. So I think it's the suspense of each golf shot you hit that's not in the fairway having the chance to be completely hosed. And we saw it, I think 3 or 4 holes ago, Patrick Cantlay hit a shot almost into a bunker, but it ended up in that wiregrass. And then he had to take a hybrid and chip it out like 4 feet. Whereas if it's 2 inches, 3 inches to the right or something like that, all he's doing is pitching it up onto the green. So I think it's the unknowingness. I don't know. There's a better word for it, but it's not coming to me right now. Just the pure like guessing game of when you miss the fairway, you're going up to your ball and being like, what's going to happen here? And I think that part makes it exciting.
I agree, but at the same time, like, I guess I think of a U.S. Open location or venue as you hit the rough, it's an auto chip out. Like, you don't, and golf is a game of breaks, don't get me wrong, but there's dudes that are getting, more breaks than others. And that's just, I think everybody should be equally penalized. You hit it in the rough, you're basically chipping out. You're not going to be able to hit enough club to get to the green, like a lot of other U.S. Open venues. And another thing too, like I almost feel like I want to see the course actually get more firm. I know it sounds crazy, but look at the scores. I mean, they're not. I think they could put the pins in a little more accessible places and make the course more firm. The reason why they're having to, keep the greens relatively quote unquote soft is because they're putting pins right on the edges of shelves with huge drop offs. I'd almost rather see like a more accessible pin placement and rock hard greens. Like that would be more for me, because a lot of these guys are able, you know, if you're in the fairway, they're able to stop a wedge pretty darn close to the hole. And although, you know, there's a lot of longer holes out there where you're not hitting wedge in, there's not many holes where a lot of guys just have a flip wedge, hardly any. But the greens are a little too soft for my liking. I want to see more carnage out there. Like, and you're going to say all these runoffs are what the carnage is, but that's not really like carnage to me. That's, you know, that's like a slap on the wrist. That's not oh, you're dead there. Like there's even the seventh hole where Rory, Xander, and Scottie all fucked that up. Rory actually played it right, took his medicine, but that shot could have been pulled off if they really actually hit it well. Like I want to see shots that you legitimately can't even take on, which is really not the case out here. So, you know, we've seen PGA Tour events with leaderboards that look like this. Like,
why don't you fucking call Walt Disney and have him bring Mickey Mouse out and set up the golf course then? You sound like, I mean, I don't know how much it's clearly tough, dude. These guys are not hitting good golf shots. The guys that are playing good are playing out of their fucking minds and just fighting for making pars here and there. I will say real quick before we get any further, this course is definitely not ordinary, and something else that's never ordinary is Bet365. Use the code ALLCITY when you sign up, and you're choosing between two offers: a first bet safety net of $1,000, excuse me, or betting $5 to get $150 when you sign up with that code ALLCITY. They have great betting for golf. We always bet golf on Bet365 each week with our big bet energy picks. Every single Wednesday, Bryson DeChambeau and Hideki Matsuyama looking pretty choice for me right now. Mitchell was trying to fight between Sunjam or Victor Hovland, and they both stink. Keegan Bradley also stinks. But Mitchell come through on the Bet365 app for us at some point this year. I can feel it. But Bet365 has the each way betting for golf. All you do is place a bet on a guy. They'll double the unit for you. Put 1 unit on the guy to win the tournament and 1 unit on the guy to get top 3, top 5, top 10, top 12, whatever you choose on the each way betting. Makes it super easy to have some skin in the game, no matter if the guy wins or if he's sitting around the cut line and ends up having a really good weekend and sneaking into the top 12. So download the Bet365 app and use that code ALLCITY at sign up to receive those 2 bonus offers. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Shady Rays. We had the comment earlier. Somebody was not able to make our show right now because they're out golfing. Thanks for the comment, Sergio, but he's golfing and he's got the Shady Rays Green Wolf golf glasses on. Love that. See, use that code AC35. We've had multiple people hit us up for that code AC35 for Shady Rays. The Green Wolf glasses are incredibly comfortable. And when you go out on the golf course, whether it's sunny, I actually particularly like the polarized lenses when it's a little more overcast because it makes the course look better. And it makes it look brighter out than it is. You know, you always want life to be brighter than it really is, and want to have that optimistic look on life. And that's what the Shady Rays Green Wolf golf glasses give you. So make sure to check out Shady Rays exclusively for our listener. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. They don't do this all the time. So head to shadyrays.com, use the code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Green Wolf golf glasses are the best. Try for yourself shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, let's get back into this because I kind of want to talk about it a little more. I thought I was on a podcast with my brother. It turns out it's Mark Calcavecchi out here fucking hating on Pinehurst. I like this golf course, dude. I'm a fan of it.
You saying that you like this golf course is like saying that you like Scottie Scheffler. You're just trying to convince yourself. You have a fucking spine. Have a take. Stand on a take. You don't have to like what everybody else likes.
I don't think okay, first of all, hold on. Let me flip my nicotine pouch here before I rail into you. This is a good golf course, dude. It's just been a good test of golf for all these players. It's a beautiful golf course to look at, first of all. I
disagree.
I love all the little pampas grass, wire grass. Like, I think it's cool.
I like the wire grass, but it's like burnt out. It's kind of meh. It's like in the fucking dunes. It's like dunesy.
Okay, so you want them to make it harder, firmer, and then you're bitching about it being burnt out. You fucking pick a side. You're pissing me off right now.
No, it doesn't look it just looks like bloody, but the greens need to be more borderline. They're saying they're borderline. I do see them getting a little bit more baked out. I want to see those things looking like marble counters where they're laying in a wedge and it's fucking hopping 10, 15 feet in the air. I don't need to see a guy hitting a sand wedge like I'm hitting it in my local muni and it's one hopping, stopping next to the hole. Okay. So let's get into that because Mark Calcavecchia tweeted today. He said, I'm ready to hear it from everybody. Like, I'm ready for all the shit. But the area of Pinehurst, he said the golf in this area is fantastic. Pinehurst number 2 is not even close to the best course. And he's like, give me whatever you got. Tear me to shreds for it. But that was his take. Like, this is not my favorite course in the region, not even close. He said it's one of the most overrated golf courses in America. So I went to the comments, and there was obviously it's actually funny because there was obviously a lot of people that did not have any clue who Mark Calcavecchia was. And they're like, oh, you must have shot 105 there. It's like he won 13 times on the PGA Tour. Okay. So shut the fuck up.
This guy's got some sort of sense of what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So shut the fuck up. So there was a lot of that. But then one of the tweets, or one of the comments that I agreed with the most, this dude goes, totally agree. What's the signature hole? Where's the guaranteed drama? There's zero intrigue with this course, which I totally agree. Like, what pivotal hole down the back nine is gonna, make or break this U.S. Open?
I don't have one for you specifically.
Correct. Yeah, there's no. It all feels the same. It's all long. There's only 2 par 5s, so the scoring opportunities aren't necessarily there. All the par 3s are long. Like, there's no diversity of holes. Whereas even at Marion, I think is hosting the U.S. Open next year, if I'm not mistaken. Marion, they had a par 3 that they played like 125 yards. This was I want to say 10 years ago. But they were playing like a short par 3. They had a nice mixture of holes. Out here, it's just like everything's long. There's not many scoring opportunities. The greens are the toughest thing. You're not really penalized in the fairways, and you just got to basically be able to get up and down from anywhere, from a paper bag. So that is my thing. There doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of drama and opportunity for these guys to really take big swings at the leaderboard, for somebody to really, catapult up the leaderboard. It feels like everybody's kind of boxed into the same area of everybody has to kind of play the course the same way, relatively speaking.
Okay, that's a fair assumption. I will say there's a few holes that Bryson DeChambeau is changing. Did you see the shot chart of the one yesterday where everybody was, I think the furthest drive was like 319 and he was at 379?
Yeah.
And he's hitting the ball so well. And he just did I don't know, did you catch the Smiley Kaufman happy hour?
Yeah, that was great.
We talked about it today in our group chat. We just have the Bryson flip has been unbelievable. And it's he's such a fun guy to watch. And it's kind of unfortunate for him. Obviously the Live Tour hasn't taken off TV wise, but it is unfortunate for him and other golf watchers that aren't turning into USA or what's the fucking network, whatever network the Live Tour is on, that they don't get to watch this guy play every single week and play some of the better golf courses. Because let's be real here, as much as I wouldn't say a Live truther, as much as I respect the actual tour and the players on it, they're not playing the best golf courses. And seeing Bryson play at a place like this, playing at Valhalla with the drama on the 18th green, the 72nd hole against Xander Schauffele, like that stuff from Bryson every single week, he's just great for TV. Like, Bryson, for his game and just his overall aura, is just as good for TV almost as Tyrrell Hatton. And I'm sure Tyrrell Hatton pisses people off, or he doesn't float everybody's boat. Let's put it that way. Some people are like, oh, this is
he's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, there we go. But for me, I feel like Bryson he's starting to become my cup of tea. And he is not nobody's everybody's cup of tea. Let's put it that way. Like, some people hate Scottie Scheffler, like you. I love Scottie Scheffler. I love Bryson DeChambeau. Hate him, but you're starting to like Bryson DeChambeau, but I just think he's like must see TV and probably top 3 or 4 in the game for that specific aspect right now.
Yeah, I would say he's one of the most need to watch guys out there. Like you're tuning in when you're watching or when he's, teeing it up because he's that kind of figure in golf right now. And it was actually crazy. Somebody brought up crazy. By the way, you saying aura, have you been hanging out with the younger kids at the office too much? Cause that's like some high school terminology. I don't know where you got or maybe did you get on social media?
I don't know. Well, maybe it's probably all those For You tweets that we send back and forth that just aura is part of my vocabulary.
Yeah, so aura is now part of your vocabulary. Real quick, I want to get back to Bryson, but another comment that I screenshotted from that post about Mark Calcavecchia, this dude goes, LOL, it's not fun. You take it in the rear for 4 hours, then go get hammered at the Cradle. I love the Cradle. So the Cradle's the par 3 course at Pinehurst, but you just take it in the rear for 4 hours is pretty fucking funny because it seems like that is kind of the epitome of this golf course. You cannot take one hole off from the matter of the approach all the way until the ball is holed. Like no matter, you could be sitting dead red in the middle of the fairway and you're still, having to play away from the flag, whatever. But yes, Bryson, my betting picks were dog shit this week, but Bryson was definitely tops on my card. I let you have him. So I was being nice. I was throwing you that freebie because I know I've been carrying our betting card recently. So I wanted to give you one or two. I'm totally kidding. I think you've always picked better than me. I did want to take Ludwig Aberg, by the way. I did want to take him, but I did not. So that is on me. Hand up. I fucked up. But Bryson is just electric. This is another point I was going to make. Remember on Wednesday, I said that distance wasn't going to play as much of a factor this week. So I was correct. Credit to me. I'm not trying to throw myself a parade here, but I was correct on that take. Because holy shit, Francesco Molinari, I think just hold it on 18. Or did he make a hole in one? He made a hole in one on 18 to, I think, make the cut on the number.
That's incredible.
I think so he just got to +5. I think he's going to be inside of the number because he just made hole in one on the 9th hole, his 18th hole.
Well, let me say this just real quick I love the 9th hole being a par 3. I don't know why. I really am a fan of that. I think what is it? Valley Country Club is a 9th hole par 3. Like I really enjoy that.
No, I think it's a par 4.
No, it's a par 3, dude. It's that
maybe
long. Yeah, you're just being argumentative today. I'm not.
Yes, it's that long uphill par 3. Yes, you're correct.
Thank you.
Okay, back to my point. So I looked at driving distance this week. Out of the top 10 in driving distance, there's only 3 guys that are going to make the cut out of all the longest drivers in the field, and 2 of them are going to make the cut on the number.
Wow.
The other one is Bryson DeChambeau. So Bryson's like 5th or 6th, but the other 9 dudes are not even sniffing contention in terms of distance. So I feel like I've had a lot of shitty takes. Stephen A. Voice. I have probably 3,000 takes a year, and they're not all going to be right, but I think this one was right. Like I feel good about that take.
Yeah, that's a great take, and maybe we should go back and clip that, and then you could green screen it, and then talk about go find your clip of the guys that actually made the cut, because it doesn't feel like distance is a premium on this golf course, because some of the guys are just they're just trying to not hit it in the wire grass. Like they're just trying so hard to keep the ball in play, because that second shot is already so impossible hitting from the center of the fairway, because you have to hit the right part of the green, that it makes it like triple as hard when you're in the wire grass and in the rough, or you never know if there's a tuft behind your club. You're going to top it like Johnson Wagner did on Wednesday night. You never know what could happen out of that grass. And so I think it's a premium, not necessarily hitting it long, but definitely putting yourself in a position to even sniff making a good approach shot, because you have to hit it in such a perfect spot on the greens. One thing I wanted to say is, watching this and speaking to your point of not being able to take a shot off on this golf course, I know it's a little tricked up because it's a U.S. Open, but my God, can you imagine just your everyday golfer playing this fucking track? I can't fathom it. The only thing that may save them a little bit is the fact that there's not a lot of rough, and if you're not playing a serious round and you're like you're a bogey golfer not playing a serious round, you're out here, you're finding a lot of your golf balls because it's just that, you know, typical wiregrass kind of fescue looking stuff. But hitting it out of there, unless you're just like foot wedging it to a good spot and then hitting it, I mean, I'd probably venture to guess I'd shoot at least 100 here, maybe more. You know,
No,
like
I really don't think that it's that hard of a golf course for your everyday. Maybe I take that back. I think for an above average golfer, if this place isn't set up for a U.S. Open, I don't think it's that challenging because the fairways are wider, relatively speaking. If the greens are softer, that's what completely changes this golf course. If you can, you know, hold it in these random little areas where they're putting pins on the green, then you're going to have a way better chance of, you know, obviously shooting a number. But on the other side of your argument, where you said distance, like a lot of guys, I've seen a lot of guys hitting iron off a lot of tees, and I'm sure Lou Stagner would like a word with all of them because distance is always a premium, it feels like. But on the other side of that argument, where you said these guys are trying to give themselves a look from the fairway, I feel like out of all the U.S. Opens, this place, you have the best chance of catching a good lie in the rough or, you know, in the wiregrass or whatever. Why not get it down there as far as you can? Because there's a good chance you're going to have a good lie in that shit anyways. And then, you know, you're 30, 40 yards ahead. But this kind of leads me to another point. And one of the instructors I follow on social media, I've mentioned him a few times, Shaheen Nakjavani. I don't think I butchered that, but you never know. He tweeted this morning about guys taking more club and taking off spin because of all these runoff areas. And I think that is such a lost art because I do not think any of these guys, like how often do you hear of a PGA Tour nowadays taking less club and laying off of it? And you know, trying to control the trajectory and the spin and really hit his number. I feel like nowadays that art is completely gone. Like I was actually working with a student on it the other day. I was like, okay, you have an 8-iron in your hands that you usually hit, you know, 140, 150. Try to hit it 120. Like I want to see a 120-yard 8-iron and see what that looks like, because nobody practices anything but full numbers. And then you get out on the course and you don't have a full number. You have a little bit of wind, or you want to control the ball flight. Like nobody works on less than full shots anymore, whether it be with wedges, with irons, with anything. And I think that is just like a lost art in the game that I feel like was so paramount 20 years ago that is just not anymore.
Yeah, like it's all about how far you can hit every club, not how and what everybody. When you step on a tee box, even with your buddies, and they're like, I'm hitting 7-iron. You're like, oh, well, I can't fucking hit 6 here. Most
Yeah.
people are like that, you know.
Yeah, it's all an ego thing.
Yeah, and I've gotten to the point where it was a lot last year. This year, it's been I'm just lost with a lot of my iron shots, but last year I got to a point where I was like, I don't care if I'm hitting 7-iron from 175. If that's the club, that's the club. And sometimes I feel like I get down the rabbit hole of like, well, maybe if I try to draw this, if I try to go after it, I feel like I can, if I'm so in between clubs, I'd rather take a little less, because if I hit my other club and I lay out, like you have to practice that golf shot. That's the thing is, yes, it's hard to hit a golf ball, period. End of story. But if you always hit your 8-iron 150, it's much harder to practice hitting your 8-iron 140 or 130 than it is to try and hope you hit it 150, or your 9-irons, you know, 135, and you're just trying to max it out and hope that you can hit it 140 if you have that shot. So it is a lost art, and it's something that I just don't think is practiced anymore, which is unfortunate.
Correct.
But the guys we're watching on TV this weekend definitely know how to hit all those golf shots, and they don't care. Their paycheck doesn't matter what club they hit, and that's how it should be for all golfers. Like your score doesn't reflect what club you hit on certain holes. They don't ask how, they just ask how many. And it is something that nobody cares about anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But I actually think there's quite a few dudes even playing at this U.S. Open that could benefit greatly from taking more club and taking some off of it, as opposed to, so like, you know, Mark Hubbard, for example. And obviously he hit a really good shot and got fucking hosed on number 1 this morning when he almost holed it and then it spun off the green. But I guarantee you, if that's one more club that he's taking some off, that ball is stopping, next to the hole or maybe rolling out a little bit past it. So if you have an exact number that you're almost maxed out on a club, especially with this kind of course, I would encourage taking more club and taking some off, because you're going to be able to control trajectory. And at the same time, I mean, this course is so hard because you hit like a low flighted one in there, you're going to catch a big hop. And relatively speaking, the greens aren't that firm, like I said, but so I get both sides of it, but I think there's a few shots here and there where if I was a caddy, I'd be like, you know what, don't hit a hard 9-iron, hit an 80% 8-iron here. And control the trajectory, control the spin, and it should stop where you're trying to hit it versus being at the mercy of, oh, well, I landed next to the flag and now it's 30 yards off the front of the green.
Yeah, in Ville or
you're Fuckville.
Pittsburgh.
As Joe Mayo and Victor Hovland. I've got a few. What do you have? Because I've got quite a few mentions here.
All right, before you get to those, I want to ask you, just still on that point about hitting flighted shots and maybe hitting less club. Do you think that's something that they all work on? Do you think that's something that they're all comfortable with, and that's why, or if no, is that why they're not doing it? Does that make sense, or is it just complete, like, they're more comfortable hitting a full shot, they're not near as comfortable, which you're never going to be near as comfortable hitting an 80 to 90% shot, but if you work on it enough and you're a professional golfer, you would think that they would feel like they could hit that shot. And then I guess it's just trusting your caddy or trusting your gut that that's the best shot for that hole or that specific, reason.
Yeah, correct. I don't think it's practiced near as much anymore. And they can definitely, they probably have like a 5 to 10%. Like, this is my 90% 8-iron versus my 100%. And that's kind of more of a comfortable range, but it's more of like, can you hit like a 60% 7-iron as opposed to a full 9-iron, where if you have a lot of green to work with and you feel comfortable, landing it in the front of the green and it rolling up towards the middle, I feel like that's not practice anymore. And I remember I read a story about Jim Furyk when he got to college. And this was, probably 25, 30 years ago. He said the biggest thing that I realized when I got to college was I couldn't hit every single club, every single number. And, he would sit out on the driving range and hit to the 150-yard flag and hit everything from, a 9-iron or an 8-iron all the way down through like a 5 or a 4-iron to that 150-yard flag, and really dial in those different swings with that same yardage, but controlling trajectory and really like knowing your golf swing inside and out to where you can make a smaller swing and still control the ball flight, know which direction it's going, and that you're controlling the distance. So I kind of sound like a boomer at this point, like a get off my lawn. Like it's an old thing that everybody used to do and they don't anymore. But I think legitimately these guys don't do it because they don't feel comfortable doing it.
That's fair. I'm just sad. I just saw Brooks Koepka miss another like 6-footer for birdie. Seems like he's right on the cut line, but when he was 3 under through 11, 12 holes and hadn't made a bogey on Thursday, I thought we were looking at a Brooks, not a runaway, because you can't really run away in this tournament. And that's the other thing I kind of like about this is there's going to be bad holes and guys are going to lose 2 shots, make doubles, do whatever. But like no one's going to go out tomorrow and shoot 62 and be 5 shots up. It would take.
There's no running away out here.
Yeah, it would take a colossal fuck up for lack of a better term, from like 6 dudes at the top of the leaderboard to even give a guy, I think, a 3 or 4 shot lead. So we're kind of into one for the weekend.
No, I would agree. That is one of the benefits, I think, of this course is, like I said, everybody's kind of being forced to play it the same way. So there is some creativity here and there, but it's more about shots that they're playing around the green. It's not about how they're playing a whole tee to green. You know what I mean? A lot of guys know that this is the safe spot on this flag. Everybody's trying to hit it in the same fucking spot. And I mean, when they were warming up, playing practice rounds, there's runoff areas that get so much run that they had to cover them with mats because they didn't want a bunch of divots there. So it's like you hit it here, it ends up here. You hit it here, it ends up here. Like I feel like these guys all somewhat have the same game plan going into this week where you aim at this flag, you don't aim at this flag. The list goes on because it's really kind of forcing everybody to play the hole one certain way. So I'll get off of that. That's kind of, I don't want to be all serious here. I've got some more like funny subjects that I wanted to broach. Big word for me. Number
I don't
one,
even know what that means, to be honest.
broaching is like approaching. So number one, Spencer texted me this week and said, have you seen that big turd of a putter that Phil Mickelson is putting with? And it is the lab golf putter that we had talked about. So I just wanted to prove that you don't listen to me on this podcast, actually listen to what I say, because we talked about it for like 20 minutes on an episode in the last couple months. And it must have just gone in one ear and out the other because you didn't fucking remember shit from what I told you. And you're like, oh yeah, don't feed me that bullshit.
Well, did you specify that Phil Mickelson plays it?
No, but
Okay,
it's
well-
popular enough at this point where there's plenty of people playing it. Like that's the putter that Lucas Glover's using. That's the putter that Will Zalatoris is using. These fucking long, they make wand putters too. That's another throwback that I've actually enjoyed, is seeing all these dudes out here with these wand putters. Like it's just kind of a fun, like feels like 10, 15 years ago where all these chest putters are getting used. Even though you can't anchor it, somehow guys still think it's an advantage. And I will say that, like, for guys with the yips, oh, look, Tony Finau got a perfectly good lie in the left fucking rough in between 6 other pamplemooses over there. Like, fucking tell me that roughs is penalizing. It's not. Dude, these nicotine pouches have me so salivating right now. I'm like about to start drooling out of my fucking mouth.
Dude, I'm trying to find.
Yeah, we're doing a podcast here, Chief. Let's
like Phil Mickelson, just what a great player playing the lab putter. Only 14 over right now. 5 over on the day. I'm sorry.
Don't you drag his name through the mud, bro. He's one of the GOATs. He's a top 10er of all time.
No,
he can do whatever he wants.
But oh yeah, this shot for Finau could absolutely be topped by Johnson Wagner.
I mean, yeah, Johnson Wagner's been an electric factory out there. Great addition. I will give them somewhat of credit. The broadcast has actually been pretty good for the most part this week. Ludwig's approach.
I think golf broadcasting in general, whether it's just a regular PGA Tour event or some of the signature events, having Colton Oast, Smiley Kaufman, and Johnson Wagner do what they're doing, I think is an incredible job by the Golf Channel /NBC /whoever, Peacock, whatever the scenario is. But I think they're doing a great job. And, we can always talk shit about those things and how bad we think the broadcasting is and Brandley Shamble and whatever. But I actually think they've been doing a really good job and overall solid commentary. And there's a few buzzwords this week, like the borderlines and stuff like that they were mentioning on Thursday. They're like, I'm going to count how many times you say that this week. And so there is those out there, but I think overall the broadcast has been great.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I would still say that I think Nota Begay sucks. I just don't think he's a great announcer. I don't even know if you know when you're listening to him or not, but I think he's just pretty like blah. Like he doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table. But that may be just me. That's just a take that I have. But yeah, bringing in the younger guys has definitely been good. I think they could have brought, Kisner in or a few of these other guys that have a little bit more recent experience. But overall, it could have been worse. I don't know how. Maybe if they still had, what's his fuck the Paul
Azinger.
Yeah, Paul Azinger. If he was still on the broadcast, it would be on mute. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't say the broadcast has been terrible.
What are your other news and notes that you want to get to?
Okay, so fun fact: Patrick Cantlay and Patrick Cantlay. I just read his name. I'm sorry, Matt Kuchar and Phil Mickelson are the only two in this field that have played the last 3 U.S. Opens here. I think it was like 99. like 07 and 2014. They've played in all 3 of the last, so 4 of the last 4 are here. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know how Tiger did not make the U.S. Open in 99, or maybe he didn't play in 2014. Maybe I don't know what he was dealing with at that point, but I have no idea how
You
Tiger's
have to
not part of
fact
that
check
group.
your fun facts.
No, dude, it was on TV. It was straight up on TV, unless they're fucking
100%.
wrong. Well, yeah, that it's like Wikipedia. How could they be wrong if I just read it? Another thing, Patrick Cantlay, and you wanted to talk about pace of play. We got to start with Patrick Cantlay. The dude is a fucking bore to watch. He's even Missy came in, like, she's working from home today. We had a lunch, or she had a lunch break. She comes in, is like sitting there watching golf. He's like teeing off on the first tee, and she goes, he takes so fucking long over the golf ball. And it sounds like, when people say my 3-year-old said this, so like whatever, it's like they didn't actually say that. My girlfriend actually said that. She's like, why does he take so fucking long? And I was like, you're not wrong. Like, he does the little pitter patter when he when he addresses the ball, bugs the absolute fuck out of me.
Okay, well, let me say this. I actually don't mind the pace of play. I actually do not care that they're playing in 5.5 to 6 hour rounds at a U.S. Open, because it's more golf coverage. It's longer time in between shots. They can get to more golf shots. I obviously I'm one of the fastest players, self-proclaimed, but I actually do believe this. One of the fastest players I know and maybe I've ever played with, because I just get up, hit the ball. I'm not fucking around. I'm not, plumb bobbing a putt. I'm not
Do you
aim
take
pointing
into
it,
account when we're looking for your golf ball?
Oh, that could be part of it. That's what slows me down a little bit, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. That
But
makes you one of the slower.
I have absolutely no problem with them playing slow rounds like the U.S. Open. The pace of play, we've talked about it before, and there's a lot of different issues to actual pace of play. The slow pace of play that drives me crazy is the over the ball, taking 20 minutes to hit a golf shot. Like, that can give me like the willies,
Patrick
like watching
Cantlay.
some of these guys. Even Bryson, there was a shot yesterday where maybe it was a couple hours ago, where he's about to hit it and he's like doing all his stuff, and then he takes it back like a quarter and then goes back to the ball. And I'm like, holy fuck, just hit it. Like, that part of pace of play drives me crazy. But the overarching idea of these guys taking as long as they are, I'm actually okay with, because it means more shots that you can see. I'm not going to be on a golf course where you're trying to have a good public round, and you want to play in 4.5, 5 hours, less than 4.5 hours, whatever. Love that. Love being out there for 4 to 4:20 and just cruising along. But when it comes to professional golf and golfers on TV, as long as they're not showing them waggling over the ball for 20, 30 seconds in a row, I have no problem with it actually taking this long. Like, I'm sure the players do, but as a viewer and as somebody just watching on TV from my comfy couch, not making the U.S. Open, I actually don't have any issues with it. I enjoy it.
Okay, that's actually kind of a different take that I necessarily don't mind. I think the big difference is, from a viewership standpoint, it's not bad, because they can still fill the broadcast with different shots. They've got so many different cameras, and there's plenty of fucking people playing out here. So they're obviously not short on shots to show. But I think where it really sucks is from a player perspective. Obviously, like, there was Bryson was sitting down, like, pacing on the tee. There's other dudes, taking a seat and like sitting around, and that shit, I can see how that shit gets old. Okay.
I will say, kind of a funny comment relating to that is yesterday. So there's definitely some bias by the PGA Tour / USGA on the players that they show the most. Like, that's 100% fact on a main broadcast. But yesterday, I go into the living room. I was watching in the kitchen. I go in the living room. My wife had it on, and I was like, where's the Bryson shots? I was like starting to get pissed. I was about to tweet it. I was like, they're not showing Bryson shots. He's fucking 3 under. He's balling. He hasn't made bogey. And then before I got pissed, I was like, let me see what's going on here. And it was the Scottie Scheffler Morikawa group or whatever. And so it was just a featured group. So I just kept watching their golf shots, and I was getting or Rory. So I was getting so pissed off. I was like, why are we not seeing Bryson shots? I need a Bryson shot.
in all honesty, like the broadcast loves those three guys so much that you could have been watching the main feed and it was just all three of them anyways. So yes, I will say that I did notice Bryson getting a few more shots televised, luckily, because the PGA Championship felt like, Bryson was a shot away from going into a playoff. And up until Sunday, we hardly saw any of his golf shots. So there definitely feels like there's a little bit of a live versus PGA Tour bias there. But so it looks like everybody's going to fit. Pavon's got 2 holes left, but it looks like 5 under is going to be the number if Pavon stays even par these last 2. And so it looks like, what did we say the cut? I think the cut's going to be a +5.
It was showing at +4 all day. Brooks just made bogey on 18 to get to +5. Not that it matters at this point, but it's kind of crazy because, like, honestly, in a PGA Tour, regular PGA Tour event, I know this isn't one of those, but you could be 10 shots off the lead and be 5 under, 4 or 5 under on a Friday afternoon. You're 10 shots off the lead and you're 5 over in this event. So it's not, inconceivable that a guy that's 2 or 3 over right now could contend on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, now that we're kind of previewing the weekend, what do you think the winning score is? And if you had to bet on somebody right now to win the tournament, who would it be?
I mean, I think the winning score is probably going to be like 7 or 8 under. And I honestly think it's going to be Ludwig Aubert. I think he just does everything too well. Like, the difference with Pavon, as great of a putter as he is, putting is a very fickle thing, as we both know, as serious golfers. Putting he's been the best putter, I think, in the field. I think he's number 1 in strokes gained or top 3 so far this week. And, unless he could just keep it rolling throughout the weekend, but I don't really foresee that happening. I don't see Pavon sticking around, but I think it's either going to be Aubert or DeChambeau coming down the stretch. We've got Tony Finau in the mix. We've got Rory McIlroy in the mix. We've got Cantlay in the mix. But I do think I already said Bryson. I think it's coming down to Bryson or Ludwig. I think that's going to be the Sunday. I think Rory's going to go shoot like 74 or 75 tomorrow and then fire like a Sunday 67 and backdoor another top 10, because that's not even a hot take. He just loves doing that.
Yeah, we have to go back into our Wednesday preview pod and clip the featured groups moment, because remember when I said Dustin Johnson would be like 12 over and those other. So you've got Aubert leading the tournament in his group, Finau at 6th place, 3 under, and then Dustin Johnson was 9 over in 2 days. I basically called that to a fucking T.
You actually did. That was well called. And yeah, Dustin Johnson just feels like he's kind of like cashed it in. Like, he is so far beyond competing. And he's got his own line of shirts now that are like $230 a piece, and that's a crock of shit. But yeah, I don't think he's taking golf very seriously at this point. No,
definitely not. Okay, so looking at where their numbers are right now, do you think they put, obviously, let's just assume that Matthew Pavon's going to finish even like the last 17, 18. So Aubert and Pavon will be together, but they have to put Cantlay and Bryson together, right? Like, they're not going to throw Dietrich with one of those two. Like, they're going to give Dietrich like whoever. I can't see who's past Finau at -3. If there's somebody there, they'll probably give that to Dietrich. No, I can see Rory and Tony. So they'll give Dietrich anybody else that's at -3 and put Rory and Tony together, almost guaranteed.
Dude, Rory's the only one at 3, so he's going to have to.
So it's going to be Rory and Dietrich.
I would assume.
Or maybe
I bet
put Rory and Cantlay together.
Or Finau and Cantlay. We're just speaking about legitimate like possibilities at this point, because we're covering like all of it. But yeah, I think obviously, well, it's going to be Ludwig and Pavon, but then DeChambeau, Cantlay would be fire, or DeChambeau, Finau, a couple of bombers. That was another note that I had, dude. Tony Finau has just got like a different gear. Like, he's not talked about like Bryson DeChambeau, but I watched him on this par 5. He had 296 in. And mind you, this is at sea level in North Carolina, like nothing, in a vacuum. This is pretty standard setup here. He hits 3-wood from 296. His ball speed, and it's off the deck, obviously. Fucking, it's not teed up. I'm an idiot for even mentioning that. But 3-wood off the deck, ball speed of 180. Off the deck with a 3-wood. And he got it pin high from 296. That is fucking insane. And he fully went for it. But I feel like Tony Finau just has that different gear where when you see him, and I've seen Instagram videos of him cranking it up when he really wants to swing hard at it, he can get well over 200 miles an hour ball speed as well. Not well over, but around that 200 miles an hour area. And so I just think people underestimate his distance, but I still, I give Tony Finau a lot of shit on this show. I've always said that he can't win the big one. And, he's a Mexico merchant because he only wins opposite field events, but it would be fun to see him compete. I would love to see him down the stretch and possibly get a U.S. Open. It just doesn't feel like he's really been there enough kind of thing. I don't know if he has the chops to actually get it done. You look at, even though Patrick Cantlay hasn't won a major, you still feel like he's got that kind of foundation to win majors because he's super solid with the putter. His ball striking solid, even though he's had a rough, last month or so. He gives the vibe that he should be a major winner, where Tony Finau feels a little bit more non-serious to me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of looking at the leaderboard and bringing up what you just talked about, we've got maybe 3 of the top best players to not win a major in this leaderboard. And Aubert's a little early to call that, but you can just tell it's coming.
Yeah, it's his third major. It's fucking insane.
It's his second major, actually.
It's his third.
Oh, okay. He played in the PGA and Masters.
He's played in. Yes, don't fucking come at me, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, no, I feel that, but
we do have 3 of the top dudes that, like you said, Cantlay. Are you talking Cantlay, Finau, and Aubert?
Exactly.
And you could even throw Pavon in there. I mean, he's been at the top of the FedEx Cup, for a good portion of this year, and the FedEx Cup, it's all the best players in the world. So that has to mean something, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think the Finau and Cantlay are the 2 maybe best players to not win a major after Xander Schauffele finally, he was the belt holder of that title by a mile. And now it's okay, is it Finau? Is it Aubert? Is it Cantlay? But I was actually I knew Patrick Cantlay hadn't won a major, but it was just surprising hearing that out loud, he hasn't, but he seems like he's been in every Ryder Cup. He's been a guy that wins big events, but is never, because has he won a tour championship?
I think he has, yes. Maybe that's why it feels like that.
Right. And it's crazy to think he's won a tour championship. And then also with Scottie and the verbiage we talk about, Scottie Scheffler, he's never won a tour championship. So the difference of the late season golf, the majors, and the guys that come to compete at these is just kind of all encompassing of this fucking crazy game that we love so much.
Oh, 100%. Well, I assume we probably got to get out of here pretty quick. Give me your final score. Let's just give me a guy and give me a number.
It's going to be Bryson DeChambeau 7 under, I think, wins it.
Okay. Since you picked Bryson, I'm going to go Ludwig Aberg 8 under.
Okay.
So
I love that.
We have clippable opportunities from that. We can, hopefully one of us is right. Having said that, now Matthew Pavon's going to fucking win this thing. It's going to be the biggest turd ever.
Is there any chance Rory wins it?
No, I don't think so. I think he shoots 75 tomorrow. And then, he shoots 67 Sunday. I hate to say it, but unfortunately, it feels like one of the most predictable things in golf. He has a rough Saturday, and then he turns it around, backdoors at, a top 10 or a top 5 on Sunday, but he just doesn't have that vibe. He's kind of playing with house money because nobody thinks he's going to win, in my opinion, but I don't think he's going to do it.
Watching him walk the putt in on 18 yesterday didn't convince you?
No, we've discussed this. We've cover this multiple times. I think he's fraudulent at this point. So
fraudulent Rory. You love to see it. Big Drive Energy. We will be back Monday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time to recap the entire U.S. Open, talk about the winner. Hopefully it's Bryson DeChambeau, and we're popping some bottles.
love to see it.
Big Drive Energy out.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.